how do you share your story? I think to answer this question, it's a pretty simple answer, and it may sound a little bland, but the best way to share your story is to share your true story. I think authenticity is everything. I had to realize when I first started, recruiting, talking to many professionals, you almost forget that these are human beings as well. So you have to just share your true story, be honest, and at the end of the day, these are smart individuals. They can see right through a facade or a made up story. So it's really important to make sure you're being authentic, telling your true story, and just being true to yourself in an appropriate manner.
I agree. And just to go on Tremaine, I think one of the important things and one way you can do that is to be self-aware. You need to know who you are. So regardless of whatever space you're in, your identity does not waver because you know who you are and you know where you want to be and you know where you're going.
Yeah, absolutely. Another D&I related question for you guys is, we're all students at State, right? And State's known for their diversity of students' backgrounds. So how has being a student at State affected your perspective in terms of D&I? And how has it impacted you and your values?
So I'd like to take that. I actually started off at a smaller private school. I started off at Belmont University, and I felt that a lot of the people there were from very similar backgrounds. So then when I switched to Georgia State, I really enjoyed being somewhere where there was a lot more variety. I felt like I was able to learn so much more, especially even variety as in the military community. There's a huge military community at State, and it was not the same at Belmont. And just being able to get involved in so many more different things made the whole experience more enjoyable. And I've definitely taken that with me into the workplace where I know I want to be at a place that has the same kind of diverse backgrounds, because it just makes every day more interesting and more enjoyable.
Thanks, Natalie. Any other comments from the panelists? Feel free. All right. Okay, cool. Thanks, Nat. So we're living in, a disrupted environment, right? The way we live isn't really normal anymore. So kind of a heavy question, and I'm sure we have all reflected, but what has being a student and living under a pandemic, like what has that taught you? And what are some key lessons and reflections you would like to share?
I can sort of take this one. So I think when the pandemic first started, or at least last semester and fall semester when we were online from start to finish, time management proved to be really key when you've got classes that are all online and the coursework, you got to be proactive in figuring out what the homework is and when the assignments are due. You're not just going to class and the teacher says these are when the assignments are due. It's kind of easier that way when you're in person. So online, you got to be proactive, and it's sort of easy to let the work pile up, which is something I've done, and you kind of procrastinate, but that's really the wrong way to do it. You really want to try and front load all your schoolwork so that you can, produce a good product in your, assignments and get your studying done, and also have time to work on your career. So I think time management and really trying to get your schoolwork done early in the week is definitely key.
Yeah, just to kind of echo off of William too, I really agree with that. But I remember pre-COVID, I always kind of had this excuse in the back of my mind saying, man, I wish I had more time. I'm always like out and about. I'm always on campus. I'm always just not at home. So I don't have time to do my homework. I don't have time to study. But now because of COVID, I'm always at home. But that kind of taught me that, okay, no matter, and now that I do have a lot of free time or more time as opposed to pre-COVID, I have to kind of restructure my studying habits, just my time management skills.
I think another thing for me that, being a student in the pandemic has taught me is the importance of self-care. I cannot overemphasize self-care enough, especially in these times. You know, it's important to step away from the screens. We're always here. For our classes, we're on the screens. For work or internships, we're on the screens. Our phones, we're on the screens. And so just remembering, you know, that you need to take a break, if that means just watching a movie or taking a nap or going for a walk, you know, just remembering that at the end of the day, your mental health is the most important, is one thing that this pandemic has definitely taught me.
Tremaine, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Yeah, I agree with everything you all just said. I think most importantly, I had to kind of find balance. You know, when the pandemic first started, like William said, it's a lot of like procrastination, time management. It's a lot harder because you're at home all day. You don't have you don't have the structure of going to class or going to work. You're just at home all day, and you have to make sure you're holding yourself accountable. But on the other side of it, once you actually begin to hold yourself accountable, you find yourself sitting at home working for 10 plus hours. And then you have to realize, okay, life is bigger than work, school, or whatever else you're preparing for. Then you have to find balance and try to spice your schedule up, do different things, even if it's a Starbucks run, anything to kind of, you know, put something different in your day, you know, just something to help give you that balance, to just help with the mental aspect of just working at home all day, every day. It gets pretty overwhelming.
I think I was able to see just the importance of persevering. I know many people were in the same boat. I was laid off back in March of last year from the job that I had. So it's finding ways to change directions and trying to find support during a pandemic is really difficult. It's just leaning on your family, leaning on the connections you have. But yeah, that was the hardest part for me, just trying to keep going when, you know, you lose a lot of support that you just had.
Any other final thoughts? So we heard time management, self-care, balance, and perseverance. Any other things that you have found absolutely useful and necessary to thrive as a person and a professional throughout COVID?
I just want to mention that on top of what everyone said with time management and such, that diversity and inclusion has actually been a big part of my time at GSU as a student. Just simply being behind a screen 24 hours a day. One of the biggest things is having to be able to communicate with other students and professors and such. And our different cultures and backgrounds really play a big key role into that. So having diversity, inclusion, and being able to use cultural diversity and cultural appreciation into a mix of that and able to get to know other people has really been a big part of communication and classes and being able to work together as a student at GSU as well.
Thank you, Heather. That is a really great point. So going off of that, right, you know, there is a focus, right, where students are holding their employers accountable for D&I. On top of the stress, maybe anxiety that students are feeling looking for job searches. So given that, what are you guys doing in terms of searching for roles now that it's in a virtual environment? How are you assessing a company now? I'm going to call on Will to answer this question.
Okay, so how are we assessing companies? I think one thing you can do that's going to have multiple benefits to it is just talking to some employees at a company that you like. You know, you can look at their values online, but I think you're really going to get a sense of what kind of person or what kind of people work there just by talking to some professionals there and starting to build relationships with them. And I think from there you can kind of get a sense of, okay, I'll like this, I'll like working for them, or I won't like working for them. And in that, you know, you're creating these professional relationships that are going to open up opportunities. So to kind of summarize, you can build relationships. You can also see, you know, maybe this company is what I want, or it's what I don't want. So I'd say just trying to network, and also doing some research online.
Any other strategies, panelists, that you think have really helped you connect and know what companies you're interested in, apart from networking and being intentional with having conversations? Kenny,
I'm just-
thought? Oh, Hamat, you got it.
Good. I was just going to say that another thing is just ensuring that your values and the company's values are aligned, because you do not want to end up in a space where you feel like, you know, that culture does not match what you're looking for. You know, some companies are a lot more fast-paced than other companies, and you prefer more, you know, slow-paced environments. Just making sure that, you know, that company's culture and the company's values do align with yours is very important.
I can also add too. So another thing I'd say that I assess for a company is their communication. So at least for me during my recruitment process, during the time before COVID, it was just I took note of how often they communicated to me in terms of like, all right, are you still going to have your internship? Like during March and then during April, that was like during the time where a lot of people either got laid off or lost their internship. So for me, communication is a big thing that I assess.
I would say the pandemic showed me how important it was to make sure I keep connections I've had over the years. I think that's very important. You start to realize that, you know, you may have a few mentors or a few professionals that you kind of connected with, maybe was a little more transparent with than others. And you realize you have to kind of nurture those relationships, because it comes to a point in society or whatever happens throughout the years, and you kind of realize that you may have to lean back on some of these people you cross paths with throughout your time. So I think it's just really important to not only network, but to keep those relationships strong, because you just never know when you might need them in the future.
Yeah, everyone, thanks for sharing. So we do have a question from Heather, and the question reads, it's also in the chat. How should we progress as students looking for internships when dealing with technical issues during applications or a lack of experience, preventing us from being eligible from what it seems to be a limited amount of internships? What are your thoughts?
As far as limited opportunity, I think it's just it's extremely important to kind of just be realistic about the field, your field of interest, skills, relevant experience, you know, how you want to present yourself. I think, you know, when there's much more opportunity, you have much more leverage to slack in certain areas. But when the opportunities are more slim, you don't have that leverage. You don't have the leverage to slack. So you really have to just be super realistic about the process, the recruiting process, and try to put your best foot forward in every aspect.
As far as the technical issues go, I would reach out to the recruiter about that, because if you're having those issues, chances are someone else is also having those issues, and the recruiter would want to know so that they could fix that all around. Also, a lack of experience. I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can get experience. I mean, I think that one thing that did help me was I found a local fruit stand, and I just went up and asked, hey, are you all hiring? Because I just didn't have enough experience on my resume. And all last summer I worked outside doing that. And even at a basic level, just finding just little ways to get experience and it'll make a difference, but it doesn't have to be, you don't need an internship to get an internship. I mean, that's the point.
Now, I know one thing that we do tell you guys that y'all didn't mention yet, and you know we fuss at you guys all the time about what else do we use for if you don't have any experience yet? Can anybody tell me? You do it every single day. You go to the class every single day. Your coursework. So always remember that your coursework is your experience as well. All those hard classes that they're making you take so that you can go be in front of those wonderful employers. Like y'all talk about Finance 4000 and that crazy marketing class that y'all be pulling your hair out about, and the accounting class that's the hardest. We've heard about all the classes because y'all would come into the CAC office crazy. Those are the classes that you do your projects on, that you focus on, that gives you experience until you can meet with an employer to give you some more experience. So all those are helpful as well. All right, Jamila, carry on. Just don't want you to forget that.
Could I add one more thing for you, the lack of experience? Yeah, I'd say for another thing that you can do too, if you have a lack of experience, try to take advantage of all the resources and different opportunities on campus, such as the CAC, the events that we're going to, like such as this, and even the student organizations on campus too.
So the panelists and Keisha also mentioned a good point, right? So it's not, you're not limited to internships. So you guys are leaders on campus. So what have you done on campus that have helped you get the opportunities that you've gotten? So programs, classes, where did you find that opportunity? And what do you recommend for students looking to get those experiences?
I could answer this. So I currently serve as the president of Women in Technology for Georgia State. And so, we're definitely constantly connecting other members in our organization with opportunities. For me and my current internship, I got my internship through a collaboration with KPMG. Women in Technology reached out to KPMG. We had an opportunity, we had the event where our members attended, and post the event, we were told about opportunities. And I was like, you know what, I think I'll be a great fit for that. And I reached out to the recruiter, I applied for the role, went through the whole process and I got it. And so it's just trying to make sure you utilize those opportunities. I remember attending that meeting, I didn't have time in my schedule that day, but I was like, you know what, I want to work for this company. I'm going to move some things around. I know what I want. This role is a role for me. So just making sure that you take those opportunities as they come. There's so many opportunities available and you don't know which one is going to be, the right one for you. So just making sure that you take advantage of as many opportunities as you possibly can, especially from student organizations, because companies are constantly reaching out to student organizations. Handshake, please use Handshake as well, because there's so many opportunities on there as well, and so many events that are being held. So utilizing and attending those events as well, because I know that opportunity that I received was not on the website. It was not posted on the website. It was just based off attending that event.
Great point, Samad. I think the student organizations in Robinson are doing a lot of really, really cool things. And oftentimes, like you mentioned, they're collaborating with different companies, in Atlanta. And that's we're so fortunate to be around so many different companies in Atlanta. And, in the commercial real estate club that I'm in, we've partnered with a bunch of different companies and given students those opportunities to kind of interact with those employers. And I think there's an opportunity there. And then, like Kenny was saying, the CAC, Lakeisha and Aaliyah, they're plugged in. They know so many people. They have a lot of knowledge and experience. They want to help us. They're here to help us. So, I'd say the CAC is really, really big. And then also student organizations, like Kenny's a part of the risk management. He's the president of that. You're the president. Like, there's a lot of different organizations for whatever you're interested in to kind of get involved with. And Penn, I think you go to Penn to see it. When we're back in the fall, that we'll have flyers and everything. But organizations in CAC are big. I'll stop there.
Natalie, do you have anything to add?
Yes, so I was in charge of membership for Beta Alpha Psi for a year. And I'm still in constant communication with them. I'm actually doing a panel this Friday about the current internship that I received essentially through the direct efforts of working with Beta Alpha Psi. I received an internship with Smith and Howard, a local Atlanta tax and audit firm, and they're awesome. I'm a little tired, y'all. It's tax season. This has been a long one, but it's been amazing. And really, I would not have met the recruiter if I hadn't been attending student org events through Beta Alpha Psi through GSU.
So we hear a reoccurring theme, right? Organizations, CAC, and that for sure gives you an edge, right? But that's only one part to the equation. And so we did have a question about networking. So question is, how has your approach to networking changed since last year? And what are strategies or steps you have taken to expand your network? What does that look like?
I know one thing that really helped me stand out with Smith and Howard is, yes, I did attend their summer leadership program, but I had already been having little coffee dates with the recruiter a few months ahead of time. And right before the pandemic, they took me around and showed me the office one day, which obviously that wouldn't be able to happen now, but you could easily, after a recruiting event, try to set up a small little talk with a recruiter, just 30 minutes of their time, try to understand a little bit more about their company or their firm. And that's really what solidified my position. And I think you would benefit a lot personally just from making that connection, but then potentially for your career as well.
I think,
Utilize LinkedIn. Oh, my bad, William. You got it.
that was Tremaine.
Okay. I saw you got got off mute. So.
Yeah, it was all three of us.
How do you go about connecting? Like, how do you go about just getting that connection in the first place? I think, Kenny, you were going to say LinkedIn. That's how I do it. I have a template that I send out. I change it up a little bit, to whatever person I'm sending it to. And I send it out, that you're not going to get a ton of responses, but, focus on the ones that you do get responses from, obviously, and, just send out a bunch of them. Maybe get in the habit of doing them every day, like maybe send 10 out every day. It's not that hard. It doesn't take you that long. But just get in the habit of trying to reach out to as many people as you can, and personalize it a little bit. Don't just copy and paste it exactly. Maybe you personalize it, change it up a little bit. Just give that personal touch to it.
I think now, during the pandemic, it's less face-to-face interaction. So you come across less people. So I think now it's just super important to make sure whenever you come across professionals you think it's important to network with, you make sure you put your best foot forward, present yourself well, and be somewhat transparent to be able to connect with them. I think it's now the relationships you have are just much more important because you're not, for example, this event, it may be easy to get 10 business cards, but now you may only connect with a few professionals because the dynamic is just different when it's, through your computer screen. So I think now it's just super important when you come across professionals, and that's important for you to network with. You just present yourself well and be a little transparent to be able to connect with them, because now relationships, I think, is just much more important. You should really nurture your relationships at this point, because you just, the dynamics have changed, and you just never know when you'll be in a situation where you can network with those similar individuals.
Kenny, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, just to echo off what William said, I definitely utilize LinkedIn. And just to give you guys some reassurance too, I feel like because of the pandemic, a lot more people are more open to getting on that Zoom call or WebEx call to talk for 30 minutes. Because before my old strategy was, hey, do you want to grab Chipotle? Do you want to grab coffee for 30 minutes just to chat? But now I kind of utilize saying, hey, let's just meet on Zoom for 30 minutes. And I find that a lot more effective, especially when you utilize LinkedIn.
I think I also want to add something really important is to be consistent. You know, if you reach out to one recruiter and they don't respond, you know, you can always, you know, reach out to somebody else, in the field, you know, just being consistent with it, because you literally never know, you know, that one message could be that one thing that, you know, just change the trajectory of your career. So just be really consistent with it.
Absolutely. So we have consistency and connection, right? So there's a lot of great things that employers are noticing in terms of how they have to rethink talent acquisition. So what are things that have resonated with you throughout your recruiting process? Because I know all of you have gotten internships or full-time jobs. What did they do for you to feel included and for you to not question, okay, this is the right decision that I made? So what are companies doing and what resonates?
For me, it's more about transparency. You know, if you are interning or even networking and you are allowed to see the team or the group that you're to be working with, I think it's just important to try to look for transparency within the people, because it comes to a point where the employers are trying to sell themselves to you. So it's are they trying to create an image of what the group or team is like, or is it just, you know, organic and they're just being transparent? They're just kind of telling you the dynamics of the team and how they operate. So I think for me, most important for that group, team, or upper management, recruiters, everyone, to just kind of try to look for that transparency.
Natalie, what do you think?
As far as what recruiters did that I found to be helpful or just to make their firm more appealing, it was really having a personal touch. I know I'll be bringing up Smith and Howard here again, but during the summer leadership program, they did some things that really stood out. They allowed us to have conversations with not just their staff or their seniors or their managers, but they brought on the partners to have one-on-one conversations with a lot of the recruits. They actually set up a virtual escape room for us. This was big. This was really a great way for us to bond with the staff and one or two managers in the virtual escape room. And we were able to kind of showcase our problem solving skills in that situation as well. So that stood out to me as something that any recruiter could do. You know, set up a virtual escape room and invite some of whoever they're looking at hiring on for a position, and just see how they all interact with each other and whether they fit with the role that you're trying to fill. So those kinds of things. I remember receiving an edible arrangements box back around Thanksgiving from Smith and Howard. It was, I mean, it wasn't necessary. They didn't have to do it, but it was really sweet. And then they'd also sent us like a swag box right before the summer leadership program, which wasn't necessary, but I mean, it's something that firms normally do right before the summer leadership program anyway. And other summer leadership programs that I attended this past summer did not do that. And that kind of stood out to me as, hey, they're really trying to make the experience the same as it would be if we were in person. Like, they're really trying. I think just we were able to see how much they were trying to get us on board. So that's what they did that made a difference to me.
Matt,
So
sorry, you got it, Ken.
Appreciate you. So I entered at Aon this past summer. The difference, what made it different for me and why I decided to commit and come back for this following summer was that they made me feel included. I didn't feel like an intern when I worked there. They made it very clear, like, hey, Kenny, when you work here, you were pretty much, we're going to treat you as if you're a full-time employer or employee. So I felt included.
Hema, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. What are your thoughts?
For me, another thing that I really look at is the executive team. I really evaluate the executive team because I think that is a really huge signifier of the rest of the workforce. You know, I think the top management of any company really speaks volumes about the culture and how, you know, diversity and inclusion is, you know, trickled down. So that's one thing that I really look at. If, you know, workforce does not have, if top management does not have women or people of color, you know, that definitely rubs me the wrong way because we are we are talented and we do deserve to be in those spaces. And so it really makes me question why there's that lack of diversity in those in that sort of environment. And so it definitely makes me double check or makes me second guess wanting to be a part of any company that doesn't have an inclusive top management.
And Will, any final thoughts on this question? You're good?
Oh.
Awesome. So it seems like the team did a really good job of covering their basis. We have a shout out to Natalie Gilbert. She posted a question, and the question reads, the first 5 minutes with a potential employer can be the most critical to get them to take interest in you as a candidate. Most likely your interviewer already has a good idea of whether you're a good fit in those 5 minutes, right? So Keisha does a really good job of telling all her students that recruiters take 8 seconds, maybe less, to look at your resume and already make a decision. So it is critical to also have that first impression resonate as well. So the question, how do you prepare for your introduction? And what do you focus on sharing to introduce yourself and make an impact? So I'll give you a minute to meditate on that answer. And then once you're ready, go for it. I see light bulbs. So if anyone wants to start the discussion, feel free.
When you told us, when you said give us a minute, it kind of made the question put a lot more emphasis on everything. But in terms of first impressions, I think each individual should focus on you have to look in the mirror and focus on your strengths first, things you're confident about, things that make you look in the mirror and feel good about yourself. Because if you just listen to what Lakeisha says about your first 8 seconds, you know, even though Lakeisha always gives good advice, it may be, I would say it could be intimidating because you kind of got to personalize the advice you're getting. So for me, when I was looking for internships, my first 8 seconds is a lot different from now when I've already had the internship experience. I have a full-time role. So I just think you have to look in the mirror and focus on your strengths and make it personal. Now I'm not really a big fan of the elaborate elevator pitches. I just think things should be more personal. It should be more transparent. And yeah, I just think everyone should, as far as first impressions, you should just focus on your story and your strengths.
Well, I see you unmuted. Are you gonna say something?
One or two questions you should definitely expect in an interview are, tell me about yourself or walk me through your resume. And this advice may contradict what Tremaine says, so you just kind of think for yourself on this one. But I always tried to have an answer for those two questions. They're kind of the same. I always tried to have an answer. I even typed it out and I practiced it, because I wanted to have my story down, coherent and articulate, and something that made sense. So I like to plan it out a little bit. I find that if I just try and wing it, it's not going to go that well, and I'm not going to like it. So that's what I like to do. Expect those two questions for sure, because those are going to be in the first 5 minutes, like you said, Natalie.
Just to follow back up with William, I didn't want that to be misconstrued. Definitely, when someone, an employer, asks you, "Tell me about yourself," or "Walk me through your resume," you should definitely have that down pat. Just like William, I was the main one. 2018 fall, I would have pages of just writing scripts because that just wasn't something I was used to. So most definitely have those things down packed, but at the same time, I just think things should be more personalized. You still have to believe what's coming out your mouth. I think that's more of what I was trying to convey.
Thanks, Charmaine. Kenny, Hamat, Natalie, interested to hear your thoughts on sharing your story and introducing yourself and the impact that you're giving off.
I think,
You beat me to it. You got it.
okay. For me, I think it's just important to remember that you're the only one with your story and there's nobody else with that type of story. And so just trying and remembering to put that in when you are, explaining why you want to be in a place, where you're telling a company about yourself, why you want to be there, because nobody else, for me, there's nobody else like Hamad. And I know for a fact that there's nobody else like Hamad. And so just making sure that I'm able to convey that to whoever I'm talking to, or an employer, is very important. And also just remembering your why you want to work for that company, why you're in that space, what you're passionate about, because that would really help you to create that long-lasting impact.
So Tremaine, Hamad, and William, they brought up some really good technical points that I really appreciate too. But for me, I kind of tackle this more from like an interpersonal perspective. So like Hamad said, we all have our own stories. So I think we all kind of come into this with our own game plan strategy. But the main thing that I would recommend you guys do is have that interpersonal skills, such as being, for your interview, try to be like 30 minutes early. That already sets an example right off the bat. And just have a smile on your face. It's really like the genuine emotion that can say a lot about you within the first 5 minutes.
And I would say lastly, even if your first 8 seconds or your first 5 minutes don't go as well, definitely in an interview, ending the interview on a good note is very important. There were many times where I interviewed, and when you're interviewing in the start, you're kind of nervous, you're kind of, you can't get your words straight, but over time you can make the interview more personal, and next thing you know, the interview is 30 minutes over because you're just having a good conversation and you end up with an offer. So first impressions are very important, but it's always good to kind of end on a good note.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not only the first impression, but the lasting impression. And, one thing that you guys mentioned that resonated with me a lot was the personalization and your story, right? No one else has your story. And that takes interpersonal growth, but also interpersonal skills as well. So my question is to you guys, how have you gone about fostering and cultivating meaningful relationships with not only your peers, but your friends and family and recruiters and employers? What does that look like for you?
I can take this one first. So the main thing that I found very valuable is that sometimes you have to take this first step to take the first initiative. So I'm going to go more so with like my meaningful relationship with my family and friends. Like pre-pandemic, there were a lot of people that I haven't talked to probably since high school. And sometimes you just got to take that first step and say, hey, dude, I haven't seen you in a long time. How about we just call for like 30 minutes? It's been a long time. And this can also apply for your relationships with recruiters and other employers too. you got to take that first step sometimes.
I'm a big believer in having a solid support group for this kind of, internship search, career search. Um, when I came to Georgia State, I didn't have any friends. So I had to go out and like find some friends, in student organizations. And I found some like-minded people, and they kind of motivate me and hold me accountable, and they act as my support group. This can be stressful. This stuff can be stressful. And, I've gone through that at times, and you're not alone if you're stressed out, trying to get an internship. Have that support group. It's family, it's friends. And if your friends aren't supporting you, and they're not, motivating you to be your best, then honestly, you might want to think about finding some different friends that are gonna, help you be your best. And for employers, you're going to be building a lot of relationships with professionals through your informational interviews. And the ones that you really connect with, just keep them updated on your career. If you get an internship not with them, maybe you reach out to them and say, hey, I just want to let you know, hope everything's well. Just want to let you know I got an internship with this company. I'll be doing this, and just stay in touch with them, as you move along. That's how I like to approach it.
Thanks for sharing. And then this will be our final question before breaking out into breakout rooms. So right now is definitely the opportunity to build back but better, right? So my last question, maybe a little retroactively, but how are you guys doing? And then what are you guys more excited about for the future?
Well, I can say I am exhausted. I am working 55 plus charge hour weeks. So I'm just tired, but that's how I am. But in the future, I'm really looking forward to a more flexible work environment where I can work from home at least 2 days a week. It's going to be, that's what I'm going to look for when I'm looking in general for jobs. That's really important to me. I want to be able to spend more time with my family, and I want to be able to spend more time on hobbies where I'm not necessarily commuting into work every day. And that's something that I know Smith and Howard is going to offer in the future, which is cool. But then I know a lot of other firms are going to offer that as well. It's just a change in general that I'm really excited about.
Thanks, Nat. I'm going to have the panelists continue on, Nat set the stage. So final thoughts. What are you most excited about, William?
Herd immunity, and also all the students on this call getting the internships and the job opportunities that they want. That's all going to happen. You got to believe it. I believe in everybody. So, keep working hard.
Although I'm personally going to be graduating this semester, so I won't get to experience it myself, but it feels so often. It just feels amazing to see that GSU is potentially going to come back to face next semester. And I'm excited for everyone that's going to be participating in that next semester. So it's just, especially now that everyone's getting vaccinated too, I can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel now. So I feel very optimistic about the future.
Tremaine?
Yeah, I'll be starting at KPMG later this year, so pretty excited about that chapter. But I think, definitely as students, and I know if you're in a position where you're looking for an internship or you're looking to land that full-time job, it's kind of hard not to be so goal-oriented, but I think one thing I figured out over the last few months is to focus on my everyday life. I think sometimes, definitely as students, we forget that we have to do something every day to work towards, a better mental space, or something every day to kind of feed us mentally. And I think, we get so stuck on hard goals and achievements we start to kind of lose ourselves. And then, one day you may look in the mirror and say, what do I like to do? What makes me happy? So I think right now I'm just excited I'm excited about just being a person I want to be on a daily basis, everything is not, everything doesn't have to have a goal next to it, or any hard objectives, you know?
Thank you, Tremaine. And we'll finish off with Hamat.
Okay, for me, and just based off this conversation that we've had, I am looking forward to seeing more companies incorporating more diversity and inclusion ideas in their recruiting, and just throughout, the whole process. Just looking forward to seeing more of that. Just looking forward to seeing more people and hearing of more people joining different student organizations, utilize those resources. I cannot overemphasize it enough, utilize your resources, because complaining or saying you need an opportunity but not utilizing the resources, the opportunity may just not fall in your lap. You really have to go out there and really grab it by the bullhorn. And for me personally, what I am looking forward to, and just in the workspace, is really getting rid, or moving away from imposter syndrome, and just remembering that I am in the spaces that I am because I deserve to be in those spaces. And I hope other people do remember that, and never forget that, because you are here because you deserve to be in this space.
Thank you, Hamat. And on that note, thank you to the students that are here. Please don't leave. There's some networking. Here's another opportunity. There you go. And thank you again for the employers that came through, heard us out, asked questions, and our sponsors as well. So please stay, please chat, and I'll turn it over to Keisha.
We thank you guys so much for attending. Like Jamila said, please hang tight if you would like to join a breakout room and meet with some of the employers. All of our employers, we appreciate you taking some time out your day to be a part of our panel today. We are going to start setting up breakout rooms for students to join. I'm going to share my screen, so if you haven't got your screenshot, if you are a part of BCOM 3950, please get your screenshot in just a second, while Aaliyah will take over to get you to your breakout rooms. Got it, Aaliyah?
Okay, all right, employers, I am opening up the breakout rooms for you. In these breakout rooms were for our sponsors. So that should be NCR, Cerna. If we have the representative from Macy's and Simmons here, that'll be awesome. If not, students, you should be able to choose between NCR and Cerna. All right, I'm opening it up for the employers now, and then students should be able to join in just a second. Okay. Jamila, if you could come off mute and let me know, do you see an option to join a breakout room? Yes or no?
No, I don't.
No? Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna assign you guys. So here we go. And students, you can go in and out of the different rooms. So feel free to, if you don't want to check out another employer, just hop in and out.
I'm sorry, is this the screen where you
Yes,
have to
that's
take
the
the
screenshot you can take. Yes, this is the screenshot you can take. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Guys, good job today. Seriously.
Panelists, awesome job. I we really from the CAC, we appreciate you guys so much. We know you guys might have to go, so definitely feel free to go. But me, Aaliyah, and the rest of the CAC want to send you so much love, so many shout outs. We appreciate you from the moon and back for being here today and being our panelists. Great job. We're so proud of y'all. Aaliyah, you need to say
And to our other employer guests, feel free to to leave the meeting. We appreciate you and thank you for your time. And we look forward to you joining us again for other recruiting events and informational sessions and another diversity breakfast or panel. It used to be a breakfast, guys.
Yeah, breakfast. I missed breakfast.
Is everybody in their breakout rooms?
Looks like it.
There it is. All right. So do you want to join one and I go to the other? You stay here. I'll hop.
Stay here.
All right. Bro.
Mimi, did you need me? You good?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just didn't. Are all the students in a breakout?
Breakout room? Yeah, did you, if you want to go, you don't have nowhere to go. You going to Delight. Fancy pants.
Yeah, Michaela's so sweet. Kenny, hey.
Hey, Kenny.
Great event.
Good job, Kenny.
You.
Thank you so much.
Shout out Jamelia. She was a great host. I see you.
Shout out y'all for bringing up them
For
students.
real.
Heck yeah. I'm
Where?
proud of
So is
y'all.
there only one breakout room right now? NCR.
There's two.
It on my screen. It says you've been assigned to breakout room NCR. So there's no option to jump in and out. Natalie, hello.
Natalie.
Tax season.
Tax season, hun. This is what you
Girl.
asked for.
Hey, Natalie, you say you work at Smith and Howard, right? Do you by any chance know someone named Chris Echoes?
Yeah, I know who he is.
Gotcha. Yeah, he's in the joiner program, man.
The
Him and
joiner program.
Carlos too. Carlos Ojeda.
Carlos is there too?
I think so. He might be.
Oh, wow.
Key, Aaliyah, I was telling Key, but I can't choose between breakout rooms.
You need me to move you?
No, I'm just saying I don't know
Oh,
if
okay.
you
So
can
yeah,
help
I
me.
had that was the option. That was the issue.
Because
When I set up the breakout rooms, I don't know if I set it up where students could choose.
We're still learning.
What I'm thinking I may do is after 15 minutes, just switch everybody.
Just switch people.
I'll
jump into NCR and see how they're doing and then come back and let you know like what's the deal. Because they'll probably need to know like, oh, at one
You're
point.
in NCR. You're assigned to NCR.
I
though.
am. Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes. Nat, if you need to go take a nap while you can, you better run. You don't have to stay here with us. I know they've been
Yes,
working you.
get you some rest, Nat. We're proud of you.
We're so proud of you. I said she got
Hours.
great tax season going.
I know.
You want to see? Yeah. Y'all want to see Harlan? He's in his PJs, but here.
Oh my God, he has a scruff.
Whoa, Harlan, you look like a man. Like, we love it.
I'm so happy to see you, Harlan. How you been?
Been doing all right. How are y'all been?
We're good. How's life after GSU?
Oh, it is just wonderful out here.
Oh,
Happy to see you look like somebody's like, man, you like don't look like a baby anymore.
No, I know. I got old fast. I just had
You get old fast.
Sunday night.
You did. Like, look at his beard. He looks like a man. We're not ready. We're happy to see you so much, man.
We
Oh my
miss
God.
you.
We're happy. We miss y'all.
Been a
We
long
miss all
year.
of you guys, but I feel like I haven't seen Harlan in a year. I think it's probably been a year.
I like
Yeah.
screamed. I hadn't seen like
Art.
Kenny and Will in like forever.
I
So
know.
That's
And
been too
Tremaine,
long.
I haven't seen him in forever either.
I know. It's been a minute. So we're like, don't make fun of us when we yell when we see y'all, because it's like pure excitement, because we literally go to the office and see no one.
Oh, y'all are going in?
We go in like once a month, but we don't see anybody. So, and I go on Friday, so nobody is there. So like when we get to see you guys, we're like, students, they're real. We miss y'all.
Jamila, I'm gonna make you a co-host so you can help out with assigning people.
Beautiful.
See where the Quest Cook, Ahmad, Muhammad, they might need something while we're yelling at our students who graduated.
I know. I'm about to make
Sorry.
Jamila a co-host so she can help. She's been monitoring the chat, so
You
But
know,
it won't let me make her a co-host, Keisha.
you don't have to stay, Harlan. I make her co-host. We
Yeah,
just
make
had
her
to yell because we were so excited to see you.
So like, is this a thing, Natalie? I'm just curious.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
This is where we live. We live together.
My babes.
we're excited now. We're even more excited now. Like we're like in
Yes,
heaven.
you love.
Yeah,
All right.
we just moved
We
in
love it.
in January.
Oh, that is so cute. I love it.
We're
Did you make her
absolutely-
co-host, Keisha?
I'm trying. I got distracted. They just told us about their whole love life real quick.
I love it. Oh.
It's
Um,
amazing.
Key, I got a Ali, I got a question for you. Was the PowerPoint screenshot already posted?
Yes, but Keisha can post it again in a second. Let her make you a co-host first. Bye, Harlan. Good to see you. Listen, Harlan, we're gonna call you for the next alumni panel.
All right.
Especially since we know where you're located now.
All right, we know how to find you.
Right
I'm
over
actually gonna hop off too. You guys have a good one, all right?
Bye, Kitty. Thank you so much. Aaliyah,
Okay,
who
hold
do
on.
I make her co-host?
I'm gonna move.
Yeah, put
DeQuavis, give me 1 second. I'm gonna move you to another room.
NCR. If you can put them in NCR, that'd be great.
I'm about to. Breakout rooms.